Coming up on Around Town,
Never know what you're going to see on this job.
we find out what all the buzz is about in a customer's attic.
Cluster flies, they're not a sanitation issue. They're coming from the ground looking for just a home for the wintertime.
This is Around Town with Town & Country Pest Solutions.
Well, today's job brings us into this attic that we've heard has a bit of a cluster fly issue. Let's go catch up with Josh and see what's going on.
We're dealing with cluster flies in a customer's attic. They had some work done in the bathroom directly below us, and with that, they were just having an immense amount of flies just continually coming in. Treated the bathroom, but it couldn't stop the issue. When we came up here and did another inspection, finding a ton of flies up here, so that really was the issue and where they're sourcing from. Having a thorough treatment up here is really going to stop and help that eliminate the issue.
When it comes to taking care of infestations, it's important for us to determine which species of fly we'll be dealing with. By knowing what we're up against, it allows us to best prepare and execute a solid game plan, rather than changing on the fly. The three types of flies that get mistaken for one another most often are bottle flies, house flies, and of course, cluster flies. Each of these species has their own unique preferences for breeding grounds, food sources, and ability to transmit diseases. For instance, the house fly will search for food waste or pet feces as sites to lay their eggs, often infesting trash cans or decaying animal carcasses. The latter option is also where bottle flies will breed based on their preference for rotten meat.
What makes cluster flies different than your regular house fly? What sets them apart?
Cluster flies, typically, they're not a sanitation or a drain breeding issue. It's more of a source from the outside. They're coming from the ground, breeding in the soils, and then they come up looking for just a home for the wintertime. So that's what sets them apart.
That breeding source in the soil are earthworms. Adult females lay their eggs near the opening of earthworm burrows. Once hatched, the larvae move into the burrows and feed on the earthworms. It's fair to say that areas where the soil consistently retains moisture will produce higher numbers of cluster flies. Cluster fly infestations occur at 2 points in their lifespan. First is right before the colder months, when they'll seek overwintering sites in attics or wall voids in large numbers, hence the name cluster fly. Second is when they complete their overwintering phase and begin to look for a way to leave the home and return to the outdoors. As temperatures rise, cluster flies can swarm indoors as they look for an exit. Most fly infestations can be effectively managed through proactive measures, but there are plenty of cases that would require assistance from the pros. Our crew of pest control technicians will assess the severity of the infestation, identify contributing factors, and implement targeted strategies to eradicate flies safely and effectively. When everything is said and done, they'll share what sort of preventative measures will reduce the risk of future infestations.
All right, now that we're back from the attic, done the treatment, seems like everything's going to be sitting for a little bit, but no more cluster flies after that, right?
That's it.
Awesome. Well, as always, I'm Matt.
I'm Josh.
We'll see you at the next job.